Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of 6 for 6, Season 4, Episode 19. We're bringing you the best sporting content. Ladies and gentlemen, we got some good stuff, some rest of the remaining of the college football season with the Army-Navy game, some NFL and NBA action that we got in the slate for you all today. But we do have an announcement to make, ladies and gentlemen. With the closure of Playback, the other show that I do, Gridiron Gridlock, is now making its way onto the 6 for 6 page, ladies and gentlemen. So it will be our official live stream that will come in as well to support the network. It's part of the Empty the Bench network, so that is being broadcasted from there, and they're using our platform here to get extra views. So it's definitely a win, get more traction, and gives us two shows released. Now we get our stuff that comes out on Wednesday for 6 for 6, with this being pre-recorded, so it allows me to crank out the stuff a little faster. And then our Saturday live streaming show. So it's like two sources of traffic coming through. So it gives you something for a nice long hour and a nice maybe, 15 to 20-ish minutes or even 12 minutes of 6 for 6. So we're giving you some good content here, ladies and gentlemen, on 6 for 6. Glad to see that we're able to grow it and keep a nice pace for it. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's get on to today's episode. Like I said, we got a lot of good stuff on the slate and wrapping up season 4 quite nicely, rolling into the new year. So our season 4 record, ladies and gentlemen, is 64-42-1. So looking pretty good across the board. I don't think we're going to have too many more blunders where it's going to cost us to be under 500. So great win across the board for season 4, ladies and gentlemen. We're on the up and up for the most part. And last week's episode with conference championships, we went 3 for 3 in our picks. Selections we didn't know what was going to happen. I would say North Texas losing. I thought they were the better football team, but I was wrong. Tulane came out and they were hungry. Ohio State losing to Indiana, which was huge. A good program win for Indiana. Love to see a nice team rising. Hurts being an Ohio State fan when you lose in a fashion of missing a field goal versus was something else. And ladies and gentlemen, the Duke-Virginia game, that's also one of the L's that we took. We didn't think Duke was going to do it, but, they wanted chaos, and that's what they brought. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this week's episode of 6 for 6 on the road. First up, ladies and gentlemen, in the 6th slot, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Army-Navy game, ladies and gentlemen. Looking pretty good across the board, I would say, on Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific Time on CBS, ladies and gentlemen. Army has had a rough year, 6-5, and they're 4-4 in the American Conference. Navy had a fantastic year, 9-2 with a 7-1 conference. The only two losses, Notre Dame and Northern Texas. Northern Texas played in the American Conference. Notre Dame missed the college football playoffs. So if you ask me, that is a pretty good resume to wrap up the year for Navy. Pretty good for our midshipmen. Army, on the other hand, they've been close games back and forth. They played Air Force close, won by 3. Beat Temple 14. Doing more passing yards this year. So we're going to see maybe the ball thrown around a little bit to see that, love that, and find ways to get the job done on top of that, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, Army's going to try to keep it close. The clock will always keep moving when you run an option-style offense. But to break it down in simplest term, Navy has a 60% chance to win compared to about Army's 39% chance to win in victory. Give me the midshipmen to take care of this one, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch Army Navy Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Pacific Time on CBS. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, in the 5th slot, we got the Chiefs and Chargers in Arrowhead, ladies and gentlemen. The Chargers made a miraculous win last night, so that improves their win to 9-4, ladies and gentlemen. And the Chiefs 6-7, ladies and gentlemen, on top of that, with their 5-2 record for their home stand, with the Chargers away record is 3-2. Very difficult playing the Eagles. But keep in mind, that was the Super Bowl winning Eagles and playing in a close matchup like that. So this is going to be another close one. But the Chiefs losing to the Texans 20-10. We know what's going on in Arrowhead. We haven't seen anything like this. For the Chiefs to win out, I think it puts them with a 56% chance to make the playoffs. Their current situation window is 16% chance to make the playoffs if the playoffs happen today. That's how bad it is right now. Now, the Chargers, fluctuate. They lose the teams that they shouldn't be losing to, but beating bad teams. Like it's a mess with the Chargers with the injuries and all that stuff. But beating the Chiefs in this game basically takes care and eliminates the Chiefs to the rest of the playoff team to win the division. Like it eliminates them just like that. And the Chargers definitely need to win it. They are now, I believe, 4-0 in conference play because they just played the Raiders on the 30th. So that is looking great. If they beat the Chiefs right here, ladies and gentlemen, that's 5-1. And they could basically almost win the division by beating out the Broncos and hoping the Broncos lose the next couple games. And that puts the Chargers right in that divisional crown position to win the AFC West. So they're on the cusp of doing that with so much injuries that they've been going on. Justin Herbert's hand surgery. This team is battled, banged up, and bruised. But with so much injuries, I don't know if they're going to make a deep playoff run. But being a Chargers fan, I want to give them the support to get the job done and get the victory where it matters the most. So I'm giving the Chargers the edge on this one, even though the Chiefs at Arrowhead is a very tough environment. Right now, it has the Chiefs with a 65% chance of victory compared to the Chargers' 34.6% chance of victory. So you can catch Chargers, Chiefs, Sunday p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time on CBS. And I have the mighty Chargers winning this one. Next up, we go up to, I want to say, the AFC East with the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots battling for the top of the AFC at the moment, but also a position battle to get the job done. The Bills have been all over the place. They had a snow fest in Cincinnati, I believe. But then the Patriots take care of the Giants 33-15. But you just look how good these teams are right now. Bills 9-4, Patriots 11-2. Very good matchups. The Patriots been dominant at home with 5-2 for their homestand. Bills are 3-3 on the road. But they're giving the Bills the edge in this one, ladies and gentlemen, with a 52% chance of victory compared to the Patriots' 46% chance of victory, ladies and gentlemen. So across the board, if we're looking at the games, Cincinnati loves to score points, but the Patriots' defense is keeping teams at bay from them cracking like over 30. The Bills have been all over the place, but it's just really Josh Allen carrying the team for the most part. Yet again, I don't think them facing the Chiefs in the playoffs, it might open up. They actually might get to the promised land, or there might be another team in the AFC to rain the parade on the Bills of reaching the Super Bowl. But we'll see. In my eye, I think the Bills are still a bit of a front runner, even though the Patriots have still a fantastic together with how many that they strung up over the course of the year. But I think the Buffalo will find a way to squeak out a victory in this one. But keep your eyes close on Bills Patriots Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time on CBS. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, in the basketball slate, we didn't want to reveal the number 2 game, but we quickly caught that. We got Timberwolves, Warriors. I believe this will be on Thursday, I want to say. Let me make sure I got that correct, ladies and gentlemen. That is Friday night hoops, ladies and gentlemen, on the 12th, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time on NBA TV, ladies and gentlemen. The Timberwolves are taking care of business with some nice win streaks for the last 5. I know they believe they played last night and ended up losing, so they're 1-4 for the last 5 games. The Warriors, on the other hand, played the Bulls well, beat the Cavaliers in a decent spot. So this is what you're dealing with for the most part. But across the board, the Timberwolves are averaging almost like 120 points a game compared to the Warriors, 113. Across the board, it's the steals for the Warriors, but at the same time, you got the box with the Wolves. It's just going to be another close game in the NBA. It's really hard to figure out who's a good team in the NBA right now, even though the records are fairly close. But the Warriors are struggling a little bit this year, being 13-12 compared to the Wolves. Now 15-9 since they ended up losing last night with their away record of 7-5 and the Warriors homestand of 7-3. But the Warriors have a 52% chance of victory, but I like the Minnesota Timberwolves to win this matchup. So you can catch Timberwolves, Warriors, Friday night hoops, ladies and gentlemen, 10 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Pacific time on NBA TV. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, in the second slot, we got Hawks Pistons, 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Pacific time on NBA TV, ladies and gentlemen. And this game is also on Friday and the early slate. We love some Friday night hoops, ladies and gentlemen. You got to get the B-ball swinging around, passing the ball around, feeling the momentum of the NBA season, as well as the mix of the in-season tournament in the lurks as well. Team points per game, 118 across the board. That's how much points that both of these teams are scoring. Steals are looking the same, almost about 9, almost 10 steals, I guess, on average. But if you're looking at the last 10 games, you know, Atlanta's 5-5. The Pistons are 7-3. Just even across the board, ladies and gentlemen, I still like this matchup, how close it is. I like a nice physical basketball game. And even they already played each other back on December 1st, where the Pistons won by 99-89. So this is going to be another close one. I don't think we're going to be disappointed in that. So give me the Pistons to win this one, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch Hawks, Pistons, Friday night hoops, ladies and gentlemen, 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Pacific time on NBA TV. Let's do a quick recap before we reveal the game of the week. 6 slot, ladies and gentlemen, Army-Navy, Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, 12 p.m. Pacific time on CBS, and I have Navy winning it. We got Chargers, Chiefs, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific time on CBS, and I have the Chargers winning it. Next stop, ladies and gentlemen, the 4th stop, we have Bills, Patriots, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific time on CBS, and I have the Bills winning it. And our 3rd slot, ladies and gentlemen, we got Timberwolves, Warriors, Friday night hoops, ladies and gentlemen, 10 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Pacific time on NBA TV, and I have the Timberwolves winning it, ladies and gentlemen. And the 2nd slot, ladies and gentlemen, we got Hawks, Pistons, Friday night hoops, ladies and gentlemen, and 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Pacific time on NBA TV, and I got the Pistons winning it. And the game of the week, ladies and gentlemen, on Wednesday. So when this goes live, so tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Pacific time on Prime Video, Spurs, Lakers. A great match to watch, ladies and gentlemen, on tonight's show, leading after tonight's show. Hopefully, when this comes out, we don't have any errors uploading it. We'll be looking pretty perfect for this matchup to really kick off 6 for 6 back to our regular program where we get on a show lead cadence on Wednesdays of cranking videos out. That's what we like to see for the most part, ladies and gentlemen. But the Spurs, 15 for 7, and the Lakers, 17 for 6. Very close matchup, still average points per game, looking at about 118 for both squads. The Lakers don't really block the ball so much, but they like to steal. Both teams are about like 8 steals almost average per game. With the assists around like 25, rebounds more towards San Antonio. But last 10 games, fairly close. Spurs 7-3, and the Lakers 8-2. Very good stuff across the board. And looking at the commonality opponents, they don't really have any common opponents that they played in the last 5 games. So without further ado, I like the Spurs to take care of business in this one, even though the Lakers have a 64.6% chance of victory compared to the Spurs' 35.4% chance of victory. I just think the Spurs are going to find a way to squeak this one out in close fashion, how close that they've been all year with scoring almost about 118 week in and week out. Without further ado, let's do a quick recap, and we'll get you on out of here so you can enjoy your week of sports. And the 6th slot, ladies and gentlemen, we got Army, Navy, Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, 12 p.m. Pacific time on CBS, and I have Navy winning it. And the 5th slot, ladies and gentlemen, if it's going to cooperate, I don't think it's going to cooperate. We got Chargers and Chiefs, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific time on CBS, and I have the Chargers winning it. In the 4th slot, we got Bills, Patriots, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time on CBS, and I have the Bills winning it. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, the third slot, Timberwolves, Warriors, Friday Night Hoops, ladies and gentlemen, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time on NBA TV, and I have the Timberwolves winning this matchup. And the 2 slot, ladies and gentlemen, we got Hawks, Pistons, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. Well, not 12. 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time on NBA TV, and had the Pistons winning it. And the game of the week, ladies and gentlemen, Spurs, Lakers, tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time on Prime Video, and I have the Spurs winning this matchup. Like I said, they went 3-4-3, ladies and gentlemen, and overall season record for season 4, 64, 42, and 1. Very good season 4. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, can't get much better. We got a couple more weeks left rolling into the end of 2025. So we probably got about, I want to say, 2-ish more episodes for the most part, because you got the week of Christmas in there, which we got some great games in there, and then you roll into New Year's a little bit. But I would say the return 6 for 6, we're looking on the day of January 7th when it goes up, and we'll see from there. We might bump it to get the recording out on Tuesday, January 6th, which will make it like a perfect 6 for 6 opening season, as I would like to say. But like I said, we have Gridiron Gridlock being streamed on 6 for 6, ladies and gentlemen. So that's definitely going to be a platform boost for us to get more traction and viewers coming through as well for our live stream. So we'll get to share that, get that going. Looking pretty good, if you ask me, for the most part. Love to have my other show not merge, but be showcased on this network, on this show, ladies and gentlemen. Gives you some more college football. That's going to be more of a college show. So we're going to look at college football, college hoops. And then in the spring, we got to figure out what we want to do. We got the College World Series, college women's softball in the mix. So we also have to take care of that when that time comes. So when we get to you after March Madness, we'll sit down and figure out what we're going to do with Gridiron Gridlocks. At that point, maybe we might go every other week as things slowly ramp back up into the college football season. But like I said, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of 6 for 6. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next time here on 6 for 6. So long for now. Bye-bye.